Hi, this is Sharaz Walji from Astral Connections, and here with me I have Tsewang. Tsewang is a Buddhist monk, Lama Tsewang actually, and Lama Tsewang is a Buddhist monk, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Okay, well, let's see. A Buddhist monk is someone who is a kind of professional spiritual practitioner, where they don't make a difference, a separation between their spiritual practice and maybe other things that they might do that some people would call mundane. So,
for example?
Well, I'm not engaged in running any businesses or that. This is what I do. Either share with others or practice myself, or practice and study myself. So the fact that I wear these clothes, which probably people have seen if they've seen the Dalai Lama, he would dress in a similar fashion, is that then that's a kind of public thing, then people can see me. And hopefully, if my behavior is good, that might be able to inspire them so that they might take up some of the things that I share with them.
What kind of things do you share with them?
Oh, okay. Well, what kinds of things? A whole range of things about how to lead their life so it's not so neurotic, so it doesn't cause a lot of suffering. And that's not just meditation practice, because people will assume, probably with they have the idea that that's solely what I share, but it's about meditative practice and how to lead their life so it doesn't cause more neurosis, so that it leads to their life being more pleasant and more benefit to others, to the others around them. So,
define neurosis. What do you mean by that specifically?
Maybe that's not the right word, but okay. Some actions leave a wake behind them, and a wake that's not pleasant for the person who performed them, because of a kind of interdependence. Some things that we do will reinforce selfishness and then make us more and more unhappy. And we can decide when we interact with others to be more open-hearted and kind to them and compassionate. And if we do that, that will reinforce that in us, and making things more pleasant for the people around us, and also more pleasant for us. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me then, Lama Tsewang, how was it that you decided to join the service?
Okay, to become a monk. Back in 1974 or 75, after a bit of a search on my own, then I started to I did some meditation retreats. One, not very long, just for 10 days, and then after that I decided that I wanted to do that. And then in 1977, then a certain a Buddhist monk came to Toronto, and then I took that together with 2 other people, became a monk. I gave it back. I stopped being a monk in 1989, and then I took it up again a few years ago. The most outstanding thing that I did is from 1982 to 85, I did a retreat for about 3.5 years.
Wow, that's all the
under
time.
the guidance of a teacher called Kalu Rinpoche.
Okay. Yeah,
who was very, very instrumental in bringing Buddhist teachings to North America and to Europe. And among one of his most well-known students is the Dalai Lama himself. That's one of his students.
One of his students,
yeah.
Wow. So you got to be the student of somebody who the Dalai Lama was a student.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So that's quite
and
an honor, I'm sure.
Some of the Dalai Lama's teachers were his students too.
Wow.
The Dalai Lama's teachers, yeah.
Wow, okay. So then, after you became a Buddhist monk, and after you joined the service, and I keep calling it the service because that's the word that comes to mind, and then you came to a point where you started teaching, I guess. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I started doing it a little bit in 1980 when I went to Calgary, and then a little bit after, just after 1985, then more so in the last few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so where do you teach, and what kind of courses do you teach?
Okay, what kinds of things? I do a little bit here in North Delta, but right now I'm doing more in Kamloops and Kelowna, but here too, because I reside here. What kinds of things? Okay. First, I share with people a meditation practice that's for calming their mind down. That's a kind of start, a kind of basis.
Is that what we're going to do in the meditation circle that you're going to do?
Yeah,
here, possibly?
probably that.
Okay.
No, to calm the mind down, and then another kind that grows out of that, which is to kind of calming the mind down is one thing, right? That's good. But there's another way of making it even calmer, which is to change, to transform one's idea of what calmness is and what it is that you're calming.
I see. So that's one step further again there.
Yes, that's the profound way. But that I only touch on. That takes some time, because you see, I mean, if we think, what does it mean that we're not calm? And what is it that makes us not calm?
Right.
And can we discover a kind of calmness that's...
Like every time I hear things like, you know, you have to calm the mind, you have to calm the mind. Well, it reminds me of the Taming of the Shrew, basically. You know, Shakespeare, the
yeah. Well, there's different ways, but some of them might not be so good. If you try too hard to make it calm, you'll make it upset. First, I mean, one way is to just let it rest in itself, but another way is to try to discover a kind of calmness that you don't need to make up by meditating. And if you can discover that, then you can go back to that. That's one thing. Then another thing that I like to share very much is more, this is what I discussed would seem very profound and sort of spacey, but more about your everyday life and how to live it compassionately and less selfishly. And all the time, all of us always have things that make us upset, that will bug us, that are unpleasant, or things that are pleasant. How to use those as opportunities for deepening our compassion and deepening our sense of gratitude. How to use those things that people think that are against what they're doing and are no good, that they have to avoid. How to use them as beneficial things, a kind of spiritual alchemy. Yeah.
So for example, then, I'm frustrated. And in the moment I'm frustrated. How do I handle that?
With this method, what one would do is, with your breathing, then think of all the other people who are also frustrated and take all their frustration into you and make the wish that by you taking on all their frustration, they will not experience frustration, and send them out all your calmness. This is a radical transformation of the normal way people think. It's turning it upside down. Then everything that's unpleasant, things that are unpleasant, can be used to make your compassion greater and make you calmer.
Right.
Yeah. You'll think that by doing this, by taking in other people's suffering into yourself and sending them your joy, you're going to get sick. You won't. You'll become calmer. You'll transform yourself.
So in other words, by taking on everyone's frustration, including yours, is actually more beneficial than to try and get rid of your own frustration.
It will remove, yeah.
And it will essentially remove your frustration.
Yeah, you'll turn it into something useful.
Will it also remove the cause of your frustration?
Yes. Eventually it would, because what's the cause of it? A lot of the cause of the frustration that we have is our self-centeredness and our selfish mind. So as long as we become more and more open, that yes, you're giving me leading questions, figuring out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it will start to turn it around. Yeah.
Okay. So is there...
It's not going to find something to hang on to as much.
Right.
And then you'll also learn that those emotions are just that. They're just a phenomena coming and going. They're not as solid. Yeah, they're not as solid as we think.
Right. And neither is the cause in the first place.
Yeah. But you see, this kind of approach, what I've been describing, really hits home with people, because if you just tell them that the thoughts are ephemeral and that the emotions are ephemeral, you know, that they're very transitory, that's good. But then that could make them cold. But this really hits home because you're transforming the emotions.
Right.
You're not just trying to cut yourself off.
That's a
from
good point,
others.
because I've noticed some spiritual people get really cold. You know, they spend a lot of time cutting off people and cutting off energies. And what's the difference between cutting something off versus taking it on then?
No. Well, one wouldn't want to cut others off. That's becoming, that makes, you know, that's just going to reinforce one's craziness.
Right.
One wants to open up more and more, I would think.
Is that what the Buddha teaches?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
An equanimity is good. That means don't see the differences between different people, and don't discriminate between ones you like and ones you dislike, and ones that are neutral, because if you do that, well, you have to learn how to do that. You make yourself sick, of course, in tension. Because I'm not a good example. I don't do it very well. But the more you can do that, then you'll be calmer. Because when you get angry with people, all that does is harm you. If you have enemies, it doesn't do anything to stop them.